And great. I'd like to welcome everybody to the May meeting of Bronx Community Board 8. For those who don't know me, I'm Laura Spalter, I'm chair of the board. Welcome all. We'll begin with our public gallery session. And Kevin Johns, you're on the call.
Yes.
Very good. Unmute yourself. And I know you're speaking about amalgamated houses. Go right ahead.
Okay, my name is Kevin Johns. I'm on the board of directors of Amalgamated Housing Corporation. I have lived in the community for almost 30 years. I'm going to speak on local law 152, but I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to thank Community Board 8. I'm going to thank Lee Chong and Dan Patternot and Julie Reyes for all their help at the Housing Committee. They put together a resolution, and on Friday, May 5th, we had a meeting with the elected officials and members of our board, and they assured us that there will be no shutdown of gas. With the DOB, Con Edison, the city council member, the state assemblyman, Senator Jackson, and the ACU, the Amalgamated Cooperators United, everybody went out there and came to the plate and said, listen, we need our gas and we don't have the money to fix all of this stuff. And we also addressed the HCR not helping us for the past 5 years to find a solution with this. So I asked for a resolution, or we asked for a resolution, and Community Board 8 put the resolution together to ask for an extension of a year till we can find a way to try and come up with a way to fix this. But from our meeting, Con Ed, DOB said that, we will not be shut down unless it's an extreme emergency until we can find a way to secure funds to come up with a solution. And I know that the politicians that were there spoke of finding us grants that we desperately need. And we also need to find a way to stop from going bankrupt. It's been, I hate to say this, but the HCR really put us behind the 8 ball by not granting us hearings, by not letting us increase our carrying charges when we needed to, and they wouldn't grant us hearings in order to do so. And so by finally, everybody from Amalgamated with a big letter writing campaign to the city council, to the governor, and now we're trying to find a solution now. Unfortunately, there's only one way we get money, and that's from our cooperators. That's what a cooperative is all about. And unfortunately, with the interest rates being what they are, to get a new mortgage is going to be costly. But we cannot do all the work at once anyway. I'm going to continue to reach out to the community board if we need any more of your help. We are so grateful. We know there's a forum coming up on May 16th that's been put together, and we're hoping that there'll be an expert with local law 152 there. I know the buildings department is having an expert with local law 97, but local law 152 is very important because it's going to affect many rent regulated buildings within our community board and the city, besides Community Board 8. And okay, that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We have Judy Sheridan also speaking on this topic. Judy, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm not muted, right? Okay, hi. Thanks again. My name's Judy Sheridan Gonzalez, and I also live in Amalgamated. I've lived here and raised my children in this cooperative, the oldest limited equity co-op in New York City. And I just want to give a little overview because it's really much bigger than Amalgamated. Again, I also wanted my heartfelt thanks to Community Board 8, the Housing Committee, and Lee Chung for your amazing support. I got involved with Amalgamated Cooperators United. We realized that it takes more than a few people. It takes a village to make a change, and we're that village that's making that change with your help and with the help of other people in similar situations. But Amalgamated was founded by a union 100 years ago that wanted to find an alternative to tenement housing for factory workers. Many of them were immigrants, and certainly they were impoverished. And now we've evolved a century later into a vibrant community that still believes in that original mission, that people of limited means and demographics have a right to suitable housing option with safe and secure homes in a quality environment. As I said, we're a diverse community who provides this alternative to dismal conditions and also an opportunity to achieve a middle-class lifestyle that might otherwise not be attainable. So we also have 40% of our residents who are elderly, as many cooperatives exist in that way with fixed incomes, and they've worked hard all their lives providing services and supporting families. But I would like to say that I think there are lucrative realtors. If we look at what's happened in the city with eyes on our humble development, if it crumbles, and that would shatter that 100-year-old dream. There are legal and financial challenges that you've heard about posed by the government agencies that are supposed to support us, HCR, or by what we call unfunded mandates. They're admirable mandates to preserve the planet, but they discriminate against New Yorkers of limited means, such as many who live here and we'd have no viable options should our co-op fail, and we'd fall victim to the privatizers and the hedge funds. So what we've learned from the community board and from educating ourselves is that there are many others that are affected. Our co-op and surrounding area of buildings also face a form of redlining, with the banks and insurers adding even more punishing obstacles to our survival. And while elected leaders do spout rhetoric that support and sustain affordable housing, the governor's budget had nothing in it this year. Housing organizations like ours, we do need financial assistance, not just amalgamated, but we all need assistance in the form of reasonable loans, mortgages, grants, and opportunities so that we can continue to do what we do. And as you heard, we did get a reprieve thanks to so much effort, but we really need residents of New York to be protected. And progressive mandates such as these, the two laws you have cited, must be funded in a non-discriminatory way. And our co-ops and housing structures that aren't wealthy must be supported legally and financially. And our survival depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Hello, it's Captain Soror from the 5-0.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We'll be getting to the police report in just a little bit. Welcome.
Okay, well, I can't stay long because I'm actually not at work. I just wanted to come on because I was asked to come on because the full board hadn't met me yet.
Right.
Okay.
Will you be able to stay on for a little bit? I can finish gallery and then move right to you.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Margie Carrasco, please. Margie. She's going to talk about the
Hi.
shelter.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Laura. I'm here to talk about the proposed shelter on North Riverdale at 6661 Broadway. We recently learned that DHS has changed providers to Westcott. And it is amazing to me that not only they change providers without the proper hearings and the proper ways for contracts, like we didn't have Max hearing for this one, but also the amount of the contract basically double, which is mind-blowing to me. Not only the amounts double, but also small businesses are being dispersed. There's only 2 businesses left in that corridor. I really thank the community board, the Dinowitz, Senator Rivera, because they're being on this journey with us for almost 2 years now. We ask for more clear, better from the city. That model doesn't work for the city, for the neighborhood. It's not dignified for the clients or individuals, however they want to call it. It's warehousing people. And to me, this is not about helping the homeless. This is about making a profit on the misfortune or others. North Riverdale, especially the Broadway corridor, we have done our fair share of helping others. We have the W, which is assistant living. We have nursing homes around here. And we only ask for community input. Anybody can fall on hard times. Maybe we ask if DHS or the city for once listen to their constituents and maybe consider a change of population to a family shelter, which will be more appropriate for this neighborhood. Right across the street from the proposed shelter, we have Little League fields. We have a gym facility for kids. We have bus stops for school. So these people, if you do a male shelter, they will not have proper services. They're not close to transportation. This is more suitable for families in need. So the community will welcome a family shelter because the schools are closed and they can be an integral part for the community. So I don't even understand how they cannot go through the proper channels for this new contract when it was exposed on the New York Post that the sister of the DHS administrator works for West Hub. So if this is not conflict of interest, I don't know what it is. So I'm asking the community board, the Dinowitz, Senator Rivera to please try to open an investigation on this and also ask
That's
to
time.
please, thank
To
you,
finish up, finish your sentence.
to please listen to the community and maybe try to change the population. We're not opposed. We want to help people, but a family shelter is more suitable for the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Margie. Thank you. Is Tamika Kenny on the call?
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone.
Great,
Luke-
hi.
Hi, thank you so much for the invitation, Luke. My name is Tamika, and I'm the area director with an organization called Young Life. I have some of my team on, there's Tasha and Imani, and Young Life is a Christian organization that was founded by Jim Rayborn in 1939 in Texas. Since then, we have spread throughout the United States and outside the country. We build authentic relationships with kids and just be in their lives. We go where they are. We don't wait for them to come to us. We want to support them in any way that we can. We want to be their cheerleader as they go throughout life. We are volunteer-led and we fundraise most of the funds that we need to support the work that we're doing in Community Board 8. Currently, we're volunteering at the Walton campus and the Academy of Mount St. Ursula, where we're supporting the schools in their cafeteria. We're doing life skills for them. We also have growing relationship with the middle schools where we take their kids to camp. This summer, we're trying to do a partnership with Faith and Prejudice and the New Village Institute. Not sure if everyone's heard about that, but they are a training organization that takes young people 18 and over, and they train them with automotive skills. So with the skills they would need to become, to find a career and do the things that they need to do in order to support themselves and their families. We will be having an informational session virtually May 16th. I would love to share that information with you all, and you all can come to the call and just learn more about how we can support 8 kids from Community Board 8 and give them an opportunity to learn a trade and build, something, a successful life that they can live on. We're also doing summer fun in the parks, where we invited middle school and high school kids on Saturdays starting in July to come and just have pure fun. We have camps happening. For high school, it's July 18th through the 20th. For middle school, it's August 1st through the 5th. I know this is a lot of information happening, a lot of dates coming your way, but I would love to share that information so that you can just share in your networks so that kids can know that there's positive activities that they can get involved in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tamika. Thank you for that information. Last but not least.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, just one question, if I might. Just one question. You gave a lot of dates. One was May 16th, a call. Can you make sure that you give all that information to the board so it can go on our website or wherever we put this information out?
Yes.
That would be useful. Right? Is that
Okay,
okay,
good.
Madam Chair, that this
you.
information be put? Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we have received and we have posted, and we will continue to. So thank you very much. Excellent. Is Rosara Mendez on the call? Rosara?
Yes, everybody
Great.
calls me, hi, how are you?
Hi.
Everybody
Okay, I
calls
see.
me
Rosie.
Rosie.
Okay,
Yes.
go
And
right ahead.
I am here representing the public advocate, Jamani Williams. I'm his Director of Policy and Legislation. And because our borough advocates can't get to like 18 full board meetings a month, they've asked other staff to take the board that they live in. And I now live in this area. And Lee Chung, it's nice to see you again. So I just want to very quickly just state some of the things the public advocate has done. Last month, he passed two bills. One, the Homeless Bill of Rights, which states what are the rights of homeless individuals inside and outside of shelters. And DHS has to print these on their website and also print copies that they hand to unhoused individuals so that they know what their rights are and can advocate for themselves or get legal representation. He also passed the pedestrian safety bill, and it will have DOT do studies on pedestrian traffic and crashes, and do a study of what's led to those, as well as put on their website those sites that has had four or more violent traffic incidences with pedestrians. And this Thursday, he's going to pass, well, the city council is going to vote on, and we believe he's going to pass a bill that would raise the fees for housing code enforcement, and would also have HPD put on their website the 100 worst landlords, which the public advocate currently does, and it's on his website. And I'm new to the neighborhood, moved here during the pandemic, and enjoying everything here, and looking forward to joining you at your full board meetings every month. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Very nice to meet you, Rosie.
And Rosie, we have to get together. I'm sorry, Laura.
That concludes our gallery session for tonight, and we will move into our report from the 50th precinct. I would like to give a warm welcome to Captain Saror, our new commanding officer of the 5-0. We've had lots of contact back and forth over the last few weeks, and we find her to be very open, forthright, and helpful. And we have had meetings where we've discussed quality of life and tractor trailers where they don't belong, and school dismissals at JFK, and issues that we have. And she's been just terrific. So this is the first meeting she's been able to attend tonight. So I'm going to open it up to Captain Saror. You're welcome to address the board. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. I'm not at work. Otherwise, I could open my camera to say hello real quick, I guess, but I'm not at work. I'm off duty, but I was told that everybody wanted to meet me and that they're not always present during the board meetings that we've had. So forgive me, I'm going to close this. Sorry. Yeah, of course, any issues that you have, any quality of life issues that you have, any emails or texts that I get, I always send my people to address them. I think you've seen a lot of positive changes.
Absolutely.
I think that I respond very quickly. I try to get my teams out there to do it. We're very short in the 5-0, but I take your concerns with high importance. And I know we've had a lot of success with these tractor trailers, for example, that you mentioned, some parking, some school issues, some quality of life issues. I would like to let you guys know that as far as motivating the cops, since I've been there, we went an actual percent increase for C summonses and oath summonses is 2,500% in a month period. I mean, that's just outstanding. Yeah, 2,500%. And when you look at the raw numbers, it might be 2 summonses versus 60. But to go from 2 to 60 and it translates to a 2,500% is very extreme. So I'm out there with these guys. I show them what it is that I want to do. They've lacked a lot of direction in the past. I've been telling them that quality of life and addressing crime conditions is of utmost importance to us here in the 5-0. We want to keep Riverdale and the area of the 5-0 precinct, Kingsbridge, Marble Hill, an area that everyone wants to live in, that cops want to come to this command and stay and work in, and that our criminals will be worried about committing crime because we're out there doing what we have to do. Among the other conditions that we've addressed are smoke shop conditions along with the sheriff's office. We've also been handling the increase in GLA crimes with special plans, and now we have a GLA auto that's deployed every tour that handles just GLA and recovered stolen autos, which we tow them from where they're dumped. So we get rid of them and becoming an eyesore there for you. And if they're still functioning, we return them to the rightful owner. If not, the insurance will compensate the victim. Other two things that we've been dealing with are a very slight increase in robberies. That was due to a pattern of a robber that used to rob women that were walking alone on a red and black scooter. We've since identified a suspect. We brought him in for questioning. However, we couldn't identify him as the actual perpetrator, but he's been quiet now for about 3 weeks. So I believe we spooked that guy. And then we do have a little increase in burglaries as well, where a burglar is coming in through people's windows, and also another burglar is stealing packages. Since then, we've been going after people who are known to commit burglaries that reside in the 5-0 that have what we call liabilities, such as an active warrant. And we brought them in, and since they've been off the street, we haven't heard from them. So it's very possible that those are the offenders. Other than that, right now we're getting ready for the summer. We're getting ready for the summer. So we have a lot of plans in place to address possible violence. We did have a lot of plans in place that put some gang members away who were young. And hopefully we'll have a nicer summer than we did last year. And if you have any questions, please go ahead.
I just want to say thank you, and that our big issue at the board is illegal activities, late night parties, such as in Van Cortlandt Park. I know you recently met with the Alliance and the PEP officers. And so quality of life issues around our parks are very, very big, and we'll have more conversations about that. We will have time to take 1 or 2 questions. Dan.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, Captain. Welcome to the 50th. I guess my question is, and I know you're new here, the illegal scooters that are going around in the neighborhood, if you have a plan of attack to address some of those illegal scooters.
Yeah, actually, we do have that incorporated into our Grand Larceny Auto plan. A lot of those scooters that people you see riding around are actually stolen. So what I've done is, along with that plan and the plan to address pattern number 49, which included a perpetrator on a red and black scooter, if you come to the 5-0 right now, you're going to see in front of the 5-0, there's about 50 scooters that we've confiscated. Something that has never been observed, I believe, in the history of this command. That many scooters chained up in front of this command that we've taken, and we've locked up the people on it for either grand larceny auto or possession of a stolen property or possession of a fraudulent plate. So we are working on that. Usually public safety team addresses very, violent crimes, but since they're in, and if that doesn't occur, I ask them to focus on the lesser violent crimes, and the scooters are definitely a condition, not just in the 5-0, but in every precinct across the city. So I'm telling you right now, if you come to the 5-0, you're gonna see all these colorful scooters in front of the command chained up, and I want to say there's about 50 of them right now.
Good. That's good to hear, and I'm glad it's a priority for you. Thank you.
Well, I just want to say again how grateful we are. I know you have 8 events tonight, and that you came by, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. So thank you, Captain Saror, and be very safe, you and everybody under you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night. We will go to the report from the Bronx Borough President's Office. Alexis Ruiz. Alexis, I see you're on the call. Alexis is new to our board. She's the Deputy Director for Bronx Community Boards. Welcome, Alexis. If you want to introduce yourself, say a few words.
Hi, how's everyone doing? Good evening. My name's Alexis, like Laura said. I'm happy to be here with you all. I have just a few announcements for you. I'm sorry if this may cut off on. It's a little odd here. Okay, so we're good. Sorry about that. Technical issues here. But I wanted to mention that we are now in Bronx Week. So I wanted to let you know that if you're interested in attending any specific events, you can go on to ilovethebronx.com. And when you click events, a calendar will pop up and it'll have all of our events. If you click on whatever specific event that you're interested in, you'll be able to register directly from the link that's posted on the flyer. And if you have any issues with that, you could please feel free to reach out to me via email, and I can assist you. Also, reappointment emails will be going out soon. I know that we've received some calls from some folks, so just rest assured that those emails will be going out soon. And then shortly after will be the appointment emails. So for our new board members. And if anyone has any questions, I'm always free via email. You can give me a call. And yeah, thank you for the time.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you.
Anytime.
We will move on to chairperson's report. Please see the executive minutes for my full report. I do want to say that we will vote to go into executive session at the end of this meeting tonight under section 105F of the Open Meetings Law regarding the hiring of personnel. The search committee has completed their vetting process and will introduce a candidate tonight. Bob will report on their process later on, and looking forward to that. I want to thank the board members who attended the street naming at Hudson Manor Terrace and 237th Street for Bill Stone, our beloved board member and former chair. There was a huge crowd and it was a beautiful event. Just a quick update on the homeless shelter at 6661 Broadway. It's been confirmed by the Department of Homeless Services that West Hab, representatives from West Hab, DHS, and Department of Social Services will attend a Health and Hospitals and Social Services meeting on Wednesday, May 31st. I hope that many will join. I know the community is very interested in an update. Many of you saw the April 20th editorial by the Riverdale Press, which called for an investigation on the contract for West Hab. It has doubled in less than 2 years without any hearing, without any explanation. It's wrong. And let me just turn my phone off. We have continued our board, the elected officials, on contacting the elected officials. So the representatives for the mayor's office and all offices who are here tonight, please, we would like a response. We would like a review. We would like an investigation. We have reached out to the borough president, to MOX, to the Conflict of Interest Board, to the controller. This contract is not with the controller yet. It is not registered. But we feel that this has to be looked at. This is public monies and there's been no explanation. Let me see what else. I do have a resolution to bring forth tonight. We could put that up. It's the hybrid resolution renewal. And we'll get that up. Basically, a year ago, last May, we passed a resolution in accordance with New York State's open meetings law that authorized us to adopt the hybrid model. Our committees to do so at their discretion because we wanted to promote the public participation that Zoom affords. That resolution needed to be renewed in 6 months. It was renewed last February, and now there's a provision that it be renewed by May. Basically, we're in the same place as far as experience with hybrid models, because fortunately, we've been operating under Zoom because of the mayor's emergency order. So we haven't had to go elsewhere and test out our equipment yet, which is why I want to renew that original May 10th resolution, which was distributed to everyone, for another year, because I feel that's how much time we'll need to evaluate, although we can always evaluate earlier. So here it is. Whereas on May 10th, 2022, Bronx Community Board 8 passed a resolution in accordance with New York State's open meeting law that authorizes Bronx Community Board 8 and its committees to adopt the hybrid model at their discretion in order to promote public participation via virtual meetings. And whereas this resolution was reviewed and renewed by the board on November 10th, 2022, with the provision that another review and vote take place no later than May 2023. And whereas under state law, the hybrid model requires that after the city's emergency executive order ends, board members must attend meetings in person unless qualifying for an exemption under extraordinary circumstances. And whereas the board passed a resolution on February 14th, 2023, approving a procedures guide, which established guidance and process for members seeking to utilize this exemption. And whereas the board has experienced success in using the hybrid model from our office, the ability to fully implement the hybrid model in other venues may be impacted by inadequate technology, Wi-Fi, lack of technical support. So it's a big experiment. Therefore, be it resolved that Bronx Community Board 8 renews its May 10th, 2022 resolution extending our adoption of the hybrid model with the condition that the resolution be reviewed within a year, but no later than May 2024 by a vote of the board. This was shown at the executive committee. It got comments. Are there any comments tonight? Any comments on it? David?
Yes, Laura, if I may, just like to make a friendly clarification in the last whereas, where it says the second line, implement the hybrid option in other venues may be hindered by the lack of adequate technology, e.g. Wi-Fi and technical support at such venues.
At such venues. Okay.
Does that work for you, Laura?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Hopefully I will remember and I'll send in the revised. Thank you, David.
Sure.
Seeing no other hands, is there anyone opposed to the resolution? Anyone opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, let me do this now. It's funny, I'm not seeing too much on my screen. Luke, do you see any hands? Anyone opposed? I don't
see any hands.
Oh,
no.
okay, very good. Is there anyone abstaining on the vote?
There is one hand. Yeah.
Okay, Rosemary's abstaining. So the motion passes. And thank you all. Thank you. Thanks for the input. Okay, let's see. That is my report. I will move over to the treasurer's report. Scott Frompinger will put everything up on the screen.
So now this is not us.
No, but
okay, there we go. Okay, good evening, everyone. So on the screen is the updated report for May. Table 1 shows the update of personal services with salaries that have been paid and the amount remaining. It also shows OTPS, other than personal services, currently has a balance of $22,280. That's broken down into some further detail down in table 1.1. As you can see down there, we still have the $16,968 in our general funding code, holding code 499. And as I indicated last month, in order to spend that money, we needed a budget modification, and that's what we proposed for this month. So I want to just jump to addendum A, which is the proposed budget modification and the resolution. Okay, great. So this proposal indicates that we're moving sums into object code 100, which is general supplies and materials. We're putting that money into that object code to accommodate the planned purpose of promotional item giveaways that have the CB8 logo. We received some estimates for things such as individual hand sanitizer, plastic dog bag holders, first aid kits. We also want to purchase things like hats, folders, flash drives, which have been very popular as I understand it, and canvas tote bags. Of the estimates that we've received thus far, just for the hand sanitizer, the bag holders, the first aid kits, the range could be anywhere between 3,200 and 5,900, depending on how many items we order. And then since Exec, we've actually received some more estimates for hats. So 100 hats, I believe, is around $1,100. And we're still waiting on estimates for other things. But just for reference, in 2017, I think we paid around $2,500 for 1,000 canvas tote bags, $425 for 50 flash drives, over $2,200 for 3,000 plastic rulers. So, you estimate for the tote bags, the flash drives could be another 3,000 to 4,000, depending on how many you purchase, assuming the costs have risen. Altogether, we could be looking at a total purchase of around $12,000 for the promotional items. And since Exec, we've also received some clarification on what categories to charge the items to. So that's why you see in the proposal, we're moving $2,500 to the printing supplies category. That's one-on-one. But otherwise, General Code 100 gives us the most flexibility in what to purchase, and that's why the bulk of the money is going there. In addition, if you look at line 40B, the Do It line, which is now called OTI, the Office of Technology and Innovation, we plan on purchasing a portable hotspot system that will allow users to access the internet via the cellular signal in places where there's no Wi-Fi. That system is around $210. I think the monthly charge is $40, so we need to accommodate that for the rest of the fiscal year. And finally, the proposed modification puts $1,000 into contractual cleaning services that will cover the last 2 months, and $1,000 into office furniture, some things that need to be replaced.
Whoops, Scott, I think we're losing you.
Got me?
Okay, now you're back.
So the resolution as proposed, I'll just read it out here. States, whereas, if you wanted to scroll up, Luke, a little bit.
Scroll a little, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Whereas to support the work of the board office, a budget modification for fiscal year 23 has been prepared and is below. Be it resolved, Community Board 8 approves the budget modification in order to further support the work of the Community Board office. And finally, I want to jump to addendum B. Am I still coming in clear, Laura?
Yeah, you're good.
So this is the projected spending of OTPS for fiscal year 2024. It's largely modeled after how the money was allocated this year. We bumped up line 100 from 1,000 to 2,500. And then upon the recommendation from Do It, well now OTI, we bumped up 40B from around 2,500 to 5,000. And as you can see, we're still going to have the traditional $20,000 cushion in Object Code 499. So this resolution, we're just going to scroll up a bit as follows. I'll just scroll up a bit, Luke, just so I can get the, yeah. Whereas the treasurer and chair of Community Board 8 prepared a projected operating budget below the board's expenses for fiscal year 2024, be it resolved that Community Board 8 approves the projected operating budget for fiscal year 2024. And those are the two resolutions that I have for you today.
Okay, any comments before we vote? It's funny, I can't see. Let me try.
Camelia.
Camelia, okay.
Yeah, Scott. Scott, just wanted to, so can you scroll a little bit down? So the total that you have remaining spending, can you scroll down on this table? It's 37,000 up until the end of the year, meaning the remaining.
That's for 2024. Is that what you're asking about, or are you asking about this year?
This is for next year?
What you're looking at right now is the proposed projected OTPS for next fiscal year. Total.
Oh, I understand. Okay. Just okay. I freaked out because I thought it's fiscal 23 remaining to be spent. Okay. No, all good. And just a suggestion, I know in Exec we discussed with Laura last time about the heads and how much it costs, whatever. Very strong suggestion to focus on, from my personal experience, on tote bags with the CB8. Maybe you want to put the website of CB8. It's just so much easier to distribute them compared to kind of individual clothing items. I don't know who would walk around with a CB8 hat, but maybe some people will. But in terms of the businesses, they are so happy because, now there's no more giving out plastic bags. So people are so happy when they receive like a reusable tote bag. And I would love for people to walk around with CB8 bags, and with the website there, basically like a walking advertising. So just in terms of how you structure that amount that you have there for like materials to be, produced with our logo, and a strong push for reusable tote bags as chair of ENS also on the
Yes,
environmental
of
side.
course.
Thank you.
Agree, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Nick, you're next.
Hi,
Nick?
thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to comment and give my 2 cents regarding having money left over. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, and I do appreciate Chair Spalter and the office being conservative in their spending, especially given the budget issues that we have at the city, state, and federal level. And this is not our money, this is taxpayer money. So I do appreciate being conservative, and it's not a bad thing if we have money left over, and we shouldn't be just spending money just to spend it. I think that's a terrible idea. It's a terrible precedent. And I think we have to be a little mindful of that. And I do appreciate the board office and Laura and Scott for being conservative in their spending.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. We do a lot of tabling, and that's where a lot of these, the merchandise goes, but we're looking at everything that we need and making sure that we have everything we need and more than we need. Thank you, Nick. Dan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Scott, I just have a question. Can we add just a friendly amendment to your resolution on the modification, just a whereas Bronx Community Board 8 would like to, expend funds on promotional materials, and I think you said to move it to, I guess, cleaning supplies, whatever your plan was, just to put a basic whereas in there, so that way, we have it kind of tracked of where we think the money is going before June 30th. I believe it was promotional materials, and I think you said cleaning, to change over to cleaning.
Right.
I don't remember if there's anything else or not.
Office furniture.
Office furniture.
That was it.
So just a very brief whereas as a friendly amendment.
So whereas to support the work of the board office, and then you want another whereas is to say.
Whereas.
Purchase planned promotional items and accommodate for.
You got it.
Okay.
Rosemary.
So Scott, the 37,590, is that the anticipated OTPS for our board? Is that what the
Right.
37, that's what it is?
Yes.
So you anticipate a full budget, and you know what the salaries will be, and this is what is left for OTPS, correct?
Right.
Okay, okay, good, thank you. And just one comment, I think $11, $12 for a hat, I think is a mistake, but anyway, that's my personal opinion. Taxpayer money shouldn't be spent on that. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Seeing no other hands, Scott, we could vote separately on each resolution.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to vote subject to the friendly amendment, basically?
Yeah, if you're okay with the friendly amendment.
I'm personally okay with it, unless anyone else
Okay.
is.
So the be it resolved that Community Board 8 approves the projected operating budget for FY 2024. Are there anybody opposed to this resolution? Anybody opposed? Don't see any hands. Is there anyone abstaining? Okay, so it unanimously passes. Thank you. Let's move up to the other resolution. This is the be it resolved that Community Board 8 approves the budget modification in order to further support the work of the Community Board office. Is there anyone opposed to the budget mod? Okay, anyone abstaining? Then this also passes unanimously. And I want to thank Scott for your hard work on this. You're diligent, very diligent, greatly appreciate it. Okay, then we'll move to the district manager's report. For this segment, I'll ask Bob Bender, the chair of our search committee, to speak. Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you, Laura. So the first thing I want to do is identify the other members of the District Manager Search Committee, who were Omar Murray and Julie Reyes. So we received 22 applications and resumes for the position of District Manager. On all of those applications, the identity of the individual was blacked out. And we did this so as to prevent unconscious bias. Subsequently, we met on March 22nd. The members of the committee met on March 22nd in an open Zoom meeting, which was also attended by 2 community board members, Dan Paternak and Marty Wolpoff. And we agreed unanimously on 4 candidates whom we wished to interview. And then over several meetings in April, the search committee met with each of the applicants. One of the 4 withdrew his application prior to the meeting. At the end of these meetings, we identified one candidate that we thought really stood out from the rest. And we asked that candidate to come back for a second meeting. And that meeting was attended, as were the other candidate meetings, by the committee members, the search committee members, and also Laura Spalter, the board chair. And at the second meeting with the candidate we're going to discuss later on tonight, Scott Crumpinger was also able to attend. And at the end of that meeting, we all agreed unanimously that we had a very strong candidate that we want to present to the board. So I'm not going to say anything further right now, but as Laura said, we are going to vote to go into executive session. And at that point, we can present the candidate and discuss the issues related to hiring the candidate. So that's it for now.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Is there any report from the New York City Department of City Planning? I'm not sure, I don't think anyone's on tonight. Okay. We could take a roll call now, introduce our secretary, Margaret Della. Margaret, great, nice to see you. She flew back last night from where? Where are you? Slovenia?
Slovakia.
Slovakia, okay. Great to see you. Okay, roll call.
Great. Sorry, got to keep these dogs in the other room next time. Sylvia Alexander.
I saw
Constance Barnes. Sylvia, are you here?
Muted. She's muted.
Okay, I see her. Constance Barnes
Present.
Watson.
I'm here.
Okay. Bob Bender.
Here,
Kelly Buford.
Present.
Christopher Calhoun. Lee Chong.
Present.
Sebastian Chitolapoli.
Present.
Ingrid De Leon.
I saw
Margaret
Ingrid.
Della. Okay, I'll come back to her.
Okay,
Margaret Donato.
Here.
Moses Esema.
Here.
Robert Fanuzzi. Nicholas Fazio.
I'm here.
Stephen Fruit.
Present.
David Gauman.
Present.
Rosemary Ginty.
Present.
Julia Gomez.
Present.
Ed Green.
Present.
Rashida Hilliard.
Here.
Robert Jaklowski.
Here.
Robert Kaplan.
Here.
Scott Crumpinger.
Here.
Rita Proctor Lowe.
Here.
Charles Murdler.
Here.
Is Theodore Morris still an active member?
he's still technically on the board.
Okay. Theodore Morris. Omar Murray. Thought I heard Omar before.
Omar,
Come
I
back.
thought- we'll have to
here.
circle back.
Omar, was that you? No. Daniel Paternak,
Present.
Julie Reyes.
I'm sorry, Margaret, present.
Oh, hi. Julie Reyes,
Present.
Georgia Santiago. Ramdat Singh. Laura Spalter,
Present.
Leona Teton,
Present.
Camelia Tepelis,
Present.
Deborah Travis,
Present.
Sergio Villaverde,
Present.
Martin Wolpoff.
Present. Present.
Okay, I'll just go back. Christopher Calhoun, last call. Ingrid De Leon,
I saw
Robert
Ingrid. I
Fanuzzi.
sent hello to her.
Okay. Robert Fanuzzi. Theodore Morris. Georgia Santiago. Ramdat Singh. So I believe that puts us at 30,
Present,
so we do
Ingrid.
have- Oh, Ingrid, hi. Okay, great. Okay, we do have a quorum.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me,
Um,
Laura.
Yes.
Just to let you know, we're joined by Councilmember Eric Dinowitz.
Oh, yes. Okay. And I understand that Senator Jackson has joined also. And we'll get to you in just a moment. Thank you for joining. We're going to have an election for Aging Committee Chair. And it's been 60 days, and as the bylaws state, within 60 days must have an election. I will take any nominations from the floor. Is there anyone interested in nominating or nominating themselves for Chair of the Aging Committee? I do not see any. Going once, going twice. Anyone wish to nominate anyone or nominate themselves? No. Well, then it's going to go to the nominating committee for possibly recruiting or filling that slot. I just want to say that currently the Aging Committee meets at 4 o'clock. That is subject to change depending on a new chair, because that, while it's good for some members, it presents problems for others. And I know that that has been raised as an issue. But we will continue in the nominating committee. And which segues right into just a few words from Steve Fruit, an update on the nominating committee.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
Today, the board office or the nominating committee sent out a reminder that all board members who are interested in being considered for a board officer or committee chair position should please send an email to the members of the nominating committee with a copy to the board office no later than Thursday, which is 2 days from now, the end of the day. That's May 11th. And want to reiterate that any current officers or committee chairs who previously notified the committee of their intention to seek renomination to their current position need not send a second notice to the committee to that effect. I would say that there are positions as to which no one has indicated interest in yet in occupying that position, and I'll just mention those. That's the vice chair of the board. Currently, no one has indicated an interest. The Aging Committee, obviously. Health, hospitals, and social services, housing, and traffic and transportation. So those are 5 positions as to which, at this point, no one has indicated an interest, and the incumbents in those positions are not seeking to continue in that role. And finally, I would just want to say that irrespective of any member's request to be considered for renomination to their current position, all board officer and committee chair positions are and should be considered open and available for nominations, including nominations from the floor at the June board meeting. And all members are encouraged, in particular those who haven't served as an officer or chair before, to put their name forward for a position and engage in the nominating process. If anyone has any questions, fine, but otherwise, thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you to the nominating committee. Before we get to our committee reports, I'd like to welcome Senator Jackson to the board and invite him to say a few words. Senator Jackson.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I've been just observing and listening to your board proceedings. I have part of my new district, which is part of Riverdale, all of Morris, Riverdale and Kingsbridge area and what have you and so forth. So I'm just going to the community boards and police precinct council meetings and neighborhood association to get to know my new constituency. Obviously, Gustavo Rivera has most of Riverdale, but I have a little part of it myself. And so just listening to your board, listening to you go through your process is very important for me to get a feeling about who you are collectively as a board. And obviously, you have everything under control. I appreciate that. I do have a community update that comes out once a week. I did, I don't know if my executive assistant Dario sent it out, but I sent it out this evening to your district manager. I forgot her name. It showed up when I sent it.
Yeah, Kira was a former, she's been promoted to be in charge of community boards in Bronx. And we will be entertaining a potential new district manager tonight in executive session when this is over. I know, though, when we have reached out to your office, Senator, your office has been great with any issues that we bring to your attention. So I thank you.
And I'm glad to hear that. I'm up in Albany, but I'm here dealing with paperwork, but I was listening to the process so that I can get to know my constituency better and the issues and concerns in the community. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to coming in.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Dinowitz. Eric, you're.
Yes. Hi. Good evening, everyone.
I see you're in a car. I think
I am. You know, it's Lag Omer tonight, and you know, it's a big celebration. So we were out celebrating. But don't worry, I'm not the driver. Being very safe. I'm going to give a quick update, but I do want to mention, you know, I know Senator Jackson's only been the senator here a few months, but he's been, you know, a great partner. We're dealing with issues with the charter school, the new charter school trying to be built on 232nd and Tibbet. And, you know, he's been, you know, alongside us really trying to address a lot of the real concerns the local community members have. So I just want to publicly thank Senator Jackson for being, you know, a partner. And I think that's one of the strengths we have in this community, Senator Jackson and I, and Assemblyman Dinowitz, and where when we work together.
Whoops,
and you know, another recent example of that. You lost me? You got me back?
Now you're back. You're back. You're back.
I was just saying nice things about Senator Jackson, how good it is to have like a you know, a partner in government. And recently with the Amalgamated, you know, the Amalgamated is dealing with an issue with their gas, and I'll just update the community. The short of it is that the assembly member, I and the senator, you know, we got together DOB, HCR, Con Ed, the management and the board of the Amalgamated got us all together in a virtual room. Without going into the details of the meeting, the short version is the Amalgamated's gas will not be immediately shut off. The gas will only be shut off if there's imminent danger or an emergency. The gas will not be shut off. And the DOB communicated to us at the meeting that they will not levy fines. So, so long as the amalgamated is in good faith, working to update their gas lines or work towards electrification, which they have been doing. So that's really incredible news for the, I think, 800 units in the amalgamated that were facing a cooking gas shutoff. It really would have been terrible. But this is something, we persisted with, and I was just very pleased that we got to sit down at a community meeting with the amalgamated on Saturday and announce that. The meeting was on Friday. The local law 97 is something that's impacting a lot of our buildings, which have to do updates, sustainability updates. And there are a lot of questions around it, and also a lot of opportunities for low interest and no cost loans and things buildings can do. So on May 16th, my office is hosting a webinar. It's being co-sponsored by a bunch of, all the surrounding elected officials, as well as this community board. And I highly encourage anyone who lives in a building to attend, especially if you are on the board. We're going to have it's going to be with DOB, a lot of important information about what the changes mean. I believe the community board had sent out that information, the link to register. We have to register in advance for this webinar. It's budget season. The mayor presented a budget that really cut a lot of important agencies and a lot of important services, cuts to libraries, schools, to CUNY. And I just held the higher education hearing today, the budget meeting. And what's astounding is a lot of these cuts are going to result in less money coming in. Because for every dollar we're investing in CUNY, that's $1 to bring in more students, to retain those students. Those are tuition payments. They then graduate and bring in more money in our tax base. And he also proposed cutting our discretionary funding. And just to let you know, we're working with the Parks Department. We fund new trees and tree guards. And they've confirmed planting of new trees and tree guards, 14 of them, along Sedgwick Avenue and Hillman Avenue in Community Board 8. So that's part of the tens of thousands of dollars we allocate. And lastly, we have some fun community events coming up. I know the community board will share this information with you, but we have a skate party in Spine Dival. We have some movie nights coming up that I hope you can all attend. So check out my social media, check out PB8, and check out my newsletter for any updates for those events. I hope you can all make it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Eric. And thank you for all you do. We will now move on to our committee reports. First up, Camelia Tepelis, Environment and Sanitation.
Oh, how come I'm the first, Laura? But
Oh,
thank
we
you.
rotate every month,
Oh, okay.
The one on the bottom goes to the top.
Okay.
The one on the top goes to the bottom and everybody moves up.
Okay, so lucky for me, I'm the first one. We had a very packed month in environment and sanitation. Our last meeting was on Wednesday, April 19. We hold proudly our meetings in a combination of Zoom and in person, and we did this throughout the year without any issue. Following our committee meeting, we also attended, several of us attended TAG, Tibet's Advisory Group, which is a multi-stakeholder group led by DEP on Monday, April 24, where they presented to everyone updates on the new designs of the Tibet's Brook project. And then we also conducted a site visit on April 27 on the former, now former CSX property currently owned by the city. In the morning, I thank Laura and David and Deb and about 25 other people that were there, and we walked around we walked along the property. I also compiled a little PowerPoint with pictures. If anybody that may be interested, I'm happy to share that. Our big event will be next month. It's a joint meeting of ENS and the Parks Committee of CB8, where DEP will come and formally present the current status of the Tibet's Brook project. It will take place on Wednesday, May 24, again in a combination of in-person and Zoom. And I encourage everyone that is interested in the project to attend. We hope to have a resolution at the end of the meeting that will be presented to you for the June meeting. For the June meeting, I am afraid I will actually not be able to be present myself, and Rob is not present, so he doesn't know yet. Rob Fanuzzi, the vice chair of ENS, so he will be the one presenting on behalf of ENS. I'm also sharing, and please excuse sort of, I don't mean to be immodest, but over the past month, but my affiliation with CB8 is quoted. So I received 2 awards, one from Cranes Business New York that calls me one of 50 notable leaders in sustainability, and another one from city and state next issue that whatever calls me an innovator, whatever. So one of these parties will be unfortunately on June 29, so I think I will go. But I just want to say to all of my committee members how amazing they were, and I want to thank Robert and Deb and Bob Spalter, community member, and Rashida, our newest member, and Karen Argenti, of course, for being also supportive throughout this year. And I want to thank Laura for even speaking to me before even I was even considering ENS, and it was a wonderful experience. And because I will not see all of you as a group again, I just want to say this year has been very tumultuous for me. It started in a very traumatic way. And we saw me pleading at several meetings in several ways, LRE and exec and etc. But it's the second part of the year felt completely different, and I'm just so happy that whatever issues are taking place, we are acknowledging that we are a diverse board and we can work out solutions, and then we can all move forward and actually build good things for this community. So thank you.
Thank you, Camelia, and congratulations on your honors. Congratulations. Moving on, health, hospitals, and social services. Omar Murray. Omar?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So, as stated earlier in Chair Spalter's report, the next committee meeting will be Wednesday, May 31st, and we will be discussing the proposed homeless shelter to be located at 6661 Broadway. Representative from the Department of Homeless Services and West Hub, which is a new provider, will be there. As most of you may know that originally this contract was for 195 million. That has now doubled to 355.
390. 390.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's gone up since last month.
Yeah, this is, there's a lot of changes going on. So at our meeting, we will be discussing this with the representative from West Hub and Homeless Services. And we encourage the public and the committee and the community to show up and ask your questions, because this will be open to the public for questions. So please come May 31st at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you. Housing, Lee Chung.
Good evening, everyone. As you know, our last meeting, the primary discussion of the evening was amalgamated houses and what was going on with local law 152. And the residents that attended, we had close to 100 people there. We had the former president, Ed Baker, who is the current treasurer, and we had several other board members, Bob, Scott, I believe, and Kevin Johns, who spoke earlier this evening. Out of that came a resolution, which I like to put up on the screen.
Right.
Luke, can you do that? Because I think that's the crust of what I would like to have done this evening, which is to, in essence, pass this resolution. I won't read the whole thing, but the essence is what was discussed by earlier residents of Amalgamated. And what we want, the gist of it, go down to the therefore, that we want Community Board 8 urges DOB to extend the date for Amalgamated, as well as any and all other financially potential vulnerable developments, to comply with local law 152 for 1 year, provided the developments provide a clear plan to DOB of how it will comply with local law 152 within that period. And the next further, be it further resolved, Community Board 8 asks that our elected officials contemplate legislation in Local Law 152 within 6 months of notice of non-emergency deficiencies in the development's gas piping systems. Lastly, be it further resolved that Community Board 8 urges all elected officials to aid in securing public financing and preservation for amalgamated houses, as well as any and all other similarly impacted developments through funding sources such as HDC and New York State's Housing and Community Renewal. And it was unanimously passed by the 2 board members, committee members, myself and Julie, with no opposition.
Okay, any questions or discussion on the resolution?
Ed,
Let me do this. Ed Green.
Hey, Lee, I just had one question, about one, it states something about a year deadline. So in light of the recent news that we've had, they're not really giving us a amalgamated deadline. It's essentially, they're not going to shut the gas off pending any imminent danger or emergency. So it almost, am I missing something? It almost feels to me like we're selling ourselves short now. Initially, I thought this was terrific, but now that we've gotten this news that there's going to be basically an indefinite, ongoing gas without any shut off, 1 year seems like it's kind of limiting us at this point.
no, Ed, this, as you know, this was written on April 24th before you had the May
Right.
meeting. However, I think you need to have a date to let the powers that be know that at least 1 year must be given. It could be more than, but it can't be less than. I
Fair
think
enough.
that's what that means.
Fair enough. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, David's hand is up. David.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by the be it further resolved. I'm not sure what it's saying. That our elected officials contemplate legislation in local law 152 within 6 months of notice of non-emergency deficiencies in a development's gas piping systems. I'm sorry, I don't know what that's actually asking.
I think this was discussed at the executive committee meeting, and that's why it was added.
Okay.
I think actually you brought it up.
No, what I brought up was about 152, explaining what it was. And you pointed out that there was an explanation in the
Earlier part,
the second whereas that I didn't see because we quickly went through this, but which is fine. That was helpful. It was whereas number 3. But anyway,
if Julie and others who helped me write this have any issue with eliminating it, I have no problem.
you mean the second be resolved? Be
Yes.
further resolved. Yeah, because I don't know what it says.
It could be extraneous. Julie? Julie, are you still?
I'm still there. I don't see why taking it out. I would defer to Dan because he was very helpful in drafting this resolution. Me personally, I would keep it in, but I would defer to Dan.
So, Julie, I think in this, if I recall, this asked our elected officials contemplate legislation in local law 162. I think that was essentially giving them time, right? That was, and I can't see the full resolution right now on the screen, like all of the be it resolves.
Exactly. That's giving them time so that if they're notified, to at least give them the 6 months.
Let's provide a clear plan to DOB how to comply with that.
And I think if I remember correctly, this could be, I'm not sure if this was the part that, and David, you could correct me, that it had the saying of carving something out, but this says, Dan, it says Bronx Community Board 8 asks that our elected officials contemplate legislation in local law 152 within 6 months of notice of non-emergency deficiencies and developments. So.
Are you,
Oh, this was, I think I remember this from the meeting. This was the clause
Right.
that,
With the
it was the
carve-out,
carve
no?
out language. Yeah,
Carve
so
out
Right.
that David didn't want to have. Or
Which the carve out was fine, but we took it out. So taking this whole paragraph out, I would defer to Dan because personally I
yeah,
would leave
so
it in.
when this came up at the housing committee meeting, the purpose of the resolution was to create an exception for limited equity co-ops, or I should say sizable limited equity co-ops. And, when we were talking about size, we were talking about like 1,400 units and above that would affect, limited equities like the amalgamated, like Co-op City, if it came up, in other large scale co-ops that created an exception within the current legislation from them having to comply with that 6-month period to shut down for non-emergency gases, which is basically exactly what just happened.
right.
The electeds created an exception for the amalgamated for them essentially not to have to comply with that 6-month standout policy. It's just that the wording has changed since the meeting. And pardon me, I didn't see this version of it, I guess, after exec. But I guess
Yeah,
the
because they
language
took
can be
out carve
modified.
out. They,
We took out the
I
word
think
carve
I
out.
think the carve out should go back in. But you
are
can
you trying
never
to
go
say,
wrong.
are you
What
trying
they're
to say,
trying to say,
are you
Oh, I'm
trying to
sorry,
say
David, go
local
ahead.
law 152 allow a minimum of 6 months after notice? I really don't even know what you're trying to say.
So and I guess I can give just a little bit of background. 152 required, amalgamated to comply or to correct any of those non-emergency deficiencies within 6 months of that, that inspection, that time frame. So the purpose of this second clause was to say, let's create an exception in local law 152 for these limited equity cooperatives of great size. You're talking 1,400 units a month, where they're not required to comply within that 6-month period. It's basically creating that exception for these limited equity co-ops that, and I think we even had the words of financial or limited financial means, or that experience financial hardship. And again, this second further resolved is different than I think what went forward to exec.
Also, I think the 6 month 6 months of notice of non-emergency deficiency is emphasizing non-emergency as opposed to emergency.
Yeah, I mean, I could try to go find like the draft that was, that
The
came out
one
of
that
that
initially
meeting.
had the term carve out, which the executive committee took exception to.
Right, we sent out, obviously, an exec, but we also sent this out after exec.
Right.
Yeah, and I apologize. I didn't read it after the exec.
Right, okay, so what do you think, Lee? Friendly amendment, no, put in, take out?
I would leave it in.
Feeling that it makes a difference to have it in. Because what in essence, we're letting the powers that be know that we want them to ensure that limited equity co-ops or buildings like amalgamated are given adequate notice regarding non-emergencies within 6 months of that notice.
All right, we've had a lot of discussion here
There's
tonight.
no mention of limited equity co-ops.
You
in this
know what?
statement.
Point of order, Laura.
Steve,
I just in order to possibly streamline this, I would suggest that someone now, Dan, Lee, just state what you're trying to accomplish here, because it doesn't do it. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't do it.
That's
So
all
if
I'm saying.
Just state what you want to accomplish, and then I think we should, if possible, if it doesn't violate any rules, just ask, Dan, Lee, Julie, to just implement what the sense of it is and be very specific now, state it on the record. We have a recording, and then I think they can effectuate it. It's not going to require a lot, but right now it doesn't say anything.
So Steve, if I think that's a great idea, and Lee, if you don't mind, I can suggest some language, like right now, and you can tell me if you like it or not. Yeah,
I really appreciate it, Dan.
So to replace that, I would say, whereas Bronx Community Board 8 asks that our elected officials contemplate legislation of a exception to local law 152 to address the needs of large-scale limited equity cooperatives of 1,400 units or more that do not have the financial means to comply with local law 152 within 6 months of notice of non-emergency deficiencies in their gas piping systems.
Okay, I'm confused, Dan. So we're
Yep.
eliminating be it further resolved and moving it up to in the beginning where the
I
whereas.
think he misspoke. I think he meant be it further resolved,
Right.
not whereas.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
correct. It's meant to
Alright.
replace that second paragraph.
All right.
And
Dan, would you be, if this is okay with Lee, Dan, can you send that to
Absolutely.
Lee? And then it could be resubmitted to the board.
Right.
And I'd like to, I think everybody's had a chance to speak. And I think we'll say, is there anyone opposed to the resolution as amended? Is there anyone? Okay, David, are you opposed?
No, but I will abstain,
Okay.
waiting for the clarification, but it's definitely much better.
Okay, who is abstaining? Please raise your hand if you are abstaining on the resolution. Okay, one, David. So it passes, and thank you all for your input.
Thank
And
you very much.
we'll make sure that the amended agenda gets sent to the board and sent out. Okay. Anything else, Lee?
No, that's it.
You're
Thank
back. Thank
That
you.
that was enough.
Yes, thank you very much. Land use, Chuck Merdler. We'll put that resolution up.
All right. This resolution in one form or another has been before the Land Use Committee for approximately 6 months. It has had some very valuable changes that tend to clarify a lot of it, and has some changes that may or may not be helpful. But I think as a balance, this is now a resolution that will enable our elected officials to say, we want more affordable housing in our community and elsewhere, and of a certain kind and nature. I believe every member of the board has at least one copy of this, and some have more. Is there anybody who would like me to go through it provision by provision? If not, and is there anybody who has any questions concerning any of the provisions?
Yeah, yes, sorry.
Yes, David.
Two things. I had mentioned it when we first looked at it in paragraph 1, third from the bottom. On an annual basis, the area median income, not average.
Yeah.
We discussed that already.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, and then in paragraph 2, in the second to last line, and I could not for the life of me find a good answer. HPD and the Department of Homes and Community Renewal, or Housing and Community
Renewal. I am very glad that, as always, you're on the money. Luke, did you get that? Those two changes?
Sorry, yes.
Okay, I accept them.
Okay, and just one other thing, we've talked about it, but I don't know if we want to incorporate it, the prospect of saying, and by the way, we hope that these waiting lists or application lists give special recognition to residents of Community District 8.
If I may suggest, let's leave that for another time. There are issues surrounding that are positive and can fit elsewhere.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I see two hands, Camelia and then Bob Bender. Camelia.
Bob, I believe you are first. Would you like to proceed,
Camelia, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, Sir, I have how to say, a substantive piece of information and more of a technical clarification comment. First of all, is your intent to that additional paragraph that you say will replace the paragraph 6, paragraph which refers to HPD and HDC, but in the exec you said you would remove the reference of to HDC.
I am happy to do so, but.
Right, but
Wait, I'll answer your question. I am happy to do so. But in the interest of the people who could use the money, so for example, if it were up to me, as it will be, I hope, HDC ought to lend the money to the amalgamated through bonds to make that situation viable. We need to use the agencies and the means they have. If you have a problem with that, that's your problem.
I don't have a problem, sir. I'm just trying to understand whether you are leaving it in or out, because in exec you said you would remove, so, but then the text came back with it in, so you're saying it stays in? Is this what you're saying?
I would like to leave it in if anybody.
Okay, good. Okay, so I was just clarifying. Okay, but then my substantial how to say comments to this is that, how to say, you are trying to ask HPD to inquire, investigate on the properties available, vacant but legally habitable, etc., etc. There is such a list, sir. It's called COLB, and it's on NYC planning website. COLB standing for city-owned and leased properties. It has 17,000 entries throughout the all boroughs. I just went through it and made 3 levels of filtering by borough, just to check on Bronx for scale. By borough, by agency, and by use. They literally list all agencies, all properties. And just to give you a sample, so simply for HPD, only for Bronx, compiling no use, non-residential, non-use residential, no use vacant land, there are 208 properties only in the Bronx, right? So this data, one, exists. HPD has complete control and knowledge of it. If they were able to pursue further development, etc., they would have. So I believe that your trust in HPD, that based on this resolution, all of a sudden, affordable housing will pop up as if there was no land. There is land, but there are clearly reasons why, how to say, it's not good enough, probably, or some other financial, etc., reasons. And my my other level of objection is what I said in land use, and probably one of the reasons why 4 out of 9 members voted to abstain on this. You are granting HPD, how to say, the knowledge that they have, the expertise required to ask other agencies, DSNY, fire department, sanitation, Department of Transportation, to tell them, we know better than you what are the transportation, sanitation, logistics, infrastructure, etc., needs of the city. No, sir, I do not believe that. Yes, I'm closing.
Camilla,
Yes.
if you could, it would help us if you could focus your remarks, focus it on the text.
Okay, Laura. Okay, I am focusing on the text, and with all due respect, I have the floor. I don't think I speak very long, so please don't filter and censor me or edit. I'm just saying what I believe.
Do that.
It's okay. So can you let me finish for another 30 seconds? Thank you. So just because of this reason, personally, I will maintain my abstention vote, because I do believe, even though your intent is to kind of patch a background of a negative relationship with the current HDC commissioner that happens to be the current the current HPD commissioner that happens to be the current HDC chair of the board, with whom Community Board 8 has a past relationship relatively negative, which I only know of because you shared that with all of us in an LRE meeting. I do believe there are issues with this resolution that really goes too far in terms of saying HPD can take over any private land at their consideration for, whatever reasons they consider your land to be insufficiently used. So for me, I will maintain my abstention. And I also note, sir, again, respectfully, that if you do maintain the HDC reference, due to your affiliation, you had a vote in favor 5-4. You would have been present ineligible to vote. So this resolution would not have passed in land use if you have that paragraph there, but you added it after. So anyways, because of all these reasons, I will be happy to send you the huge Excel sheet to see all city properties and all the agencies and how they use it. It's extremely interesting. Thank you for listening.
Bob Bender.
Madam Chair, may I respond, please? I will make it brief. I'm aware of your opposition to affordable housing. I'm aware of it of long standing. And whatever excuse you use for it is up to you. Let me just make one point and make it very clearly. HPD is the successor agency following, in my experience, 3 administrative changes, one of which brought into HPD all of the power and authority of the former Housing Redevelopment Board led by former Court of Appellate Division Judge Herbert Evans, which had that power, and of the Real Estate Board of the City of New York. All of these are just having them do it. I took out of this resolution in an effort to try and see if there was substantive opposition or just opposition. I took out of it the so-called eminent domain clause that people thought was inappropriate at this juncture, and that's fine. That was the comment I made earlier about some changes that gave me some trouble. Look, to my knowledge, and I'm going to give you all the same example many of you are on land use have heard before. There are, throughout the city of New York, a number of sites perfect for affordable housing that are used by the various agencies, but are not used. There is a sanitation garage sitting opposite St. Barnabas Hospital. It's been vacant for years. It would be an ideal site if we had an entity that could put all this information together and have the authority to apply without any taking. It's government property. We would be advanced. My only interest here is to do what I can to advance affordable housing and to reject the accusations by entities that keep saying the Riverdale and allied communities are opposed to affordable housing. That's a canard, and I want to show it is one. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Bob Bender.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I want to emphasize the point that our land use chair has just made. There is nothing in this resolution, nothing that says that any agency is going to take over private property. If you look at the clause that's up on the screen right now, all it does is say that it says identify those properties, propose to the city council a program to utilize the premises. It's up to the city council to do something or to do nothing or to do whatever it decides to do. But nothing in this resolution says some agency is going to come in and just take over private property. So let's take that off the table because it's not relevant.
Bob, just as a point, can we get to that clause? Just
Bob
the same clause
Bender,
you're
you have
speaking
the
to?
floor. Wait. Bob Bender, you have the floor.
Yeah, that clause is up on the screen, Dan.
It's not here.
Right
I'm
here.
looking at it.
I'm looking at it. Says 5/3/20.
Oh, the one I received from the board office
Yeah,
doesn't, okay.
We
So the paragraph 6
all the
is not there?
language- We excised all the language you had pointed to as being troublesome. And if she has hung up on HDC, I don't care if you take it out. You know why I don't care? Because as it's now constructed, the key issue, as Bob has pointed out, is to say to the city council, do something. That's it.
Yeah, this has been amended and sent out.
Laura, I would like to finish my remarks.
Yes, please do.
Okay. So I want to point out that for several years running now, the community board indicates its district needs, and the number one district need that we have reported to the Department of City Planning has been a lack of affordable housing. That has been number one for several years. So finally, we have a resolution that addresses that issue. Now, this resolution, whether you think it's perfect or flawed or however you regard it, it has been kicking around for months. It has been to the land use meeting a couple of times. It's been before the executive committee. It's been to the board. There's been ample opportunity to amend it, and several people have offered amendments. So it's not the same resolution it originally was, but it's been around. There's been an opportunity for everybody to chime in and say what they would like to fix. And now here it is after we've gone through that process. Last thing I want to say, affordable housing is the only alternative to more homeless shelters. If we don't have affordable housing, we are going to get more homeless shelters. So please bear that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Dan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I abstained from this resolution at the Housing Committee, or I'm sorry, at the Land Use Committee, which was a different resolution than what we're looking at today. But still, I am going to abstain because I do have a couple, just substantive issues with the resolution. But first, I would like to commend, Chuck for the work that he put into this, and the committee members for all the time and effort that they put into this resolution and in speaking about these ideas and getting these topics out to the public, because I do believe talking about them is beneficial. My big issues with the resolution are that, one, we shouldn't be telling, in my opinion, other communities, other community boards, city and state agencies, what income bands and what apartment sizes must be used in projects within their own communities. To me, I believe that's overstepping. And I don't think that's something that we should be doing in a resolution. Second, I am glad that the eminent domain paragraph has been, taken back a little bit. I don't know really what the new meaning of that is going to be. I mean, the city council, kind of talks about different ways to deal with, properties that aren't being used presently, but I am glad that eminent domain is gone right now. And just last, and it's a point I want to make, and it kind of comes back to just our own processes. The fact that somebody does not agree with this resolution doesn't mean that they're against affordable housing. It means they just don't agree with all of the ideas that are presented here this evening. And I think that's an important point. And the fact is, if we want to be on the record to support affordable housing, I think we could do so in a more concise manner, and to kind of hone in. There's also quite a few issues in the affordable housing sector, and some of the bigger ones which aren't addressed in this resolution. I'd say one of the biggest roadblocks right now to the development of affordable housing, and I'm sure Chuck knows this, is that right now there is no 421A or similar legislation that's addressing, the tax, the abatement of taxes and development of affordable housing. And that is an impediment right now. And it's something that, we don't address here. It's something that probably should be spoken about a little bit more. And I'll end there. But again, I do commend Chuck on the work he put in. I commend the committee members and the work, effort, and thought that they put in. And I leave my comments there. Thank you.
Okay.
May I, Laura? May I?
Yeah, and then we'll vote.
Then,
yeah.
To her enormous credit, the governor of the state of New York went out on the line to try and develop a program.
Mm-hmm.
She had a great deal of people's support because in her view and in the view of many of us, housing is an inalienable right, the right to decent housing. She didn't get it because not enough people were willing to say to the NIMBY supporters, enough. And that those people, whether they be out in Suffolk or they be out in Westchester or in upstate New York, were able to muster enough votes to block her. I think that's a great shame. New York City will not survive unless it has adequate housing so that it is fit for people and fit for living. And that's what I'm trying to do here. That's what we need to do here. And conscience, in my view, dictates we do it. I thank you.
So I would agree with that general premise. And if that general premise were the entire resolution, I would probably support it wholeheartedly. But I think some of the weeds that we get into in this resolution go a little bit too far. And I think that's the issue for me personally. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to call for a vote. Everybody put their hand down so that we're starting blank here. Thank you. Okay. Is anyone opposed to the resolution? Please raise your hand. Opposed. Is there, I don't see any hands. Abstaining on the resolution, please raise your hand. I'll call off the hands. I see Camelia, Ed, Green, Dan, Nick, Rosemary, Lee Chong, Ramdot, Sylvia, Deb, Travis, Sebastian Chittapilli, Rashida Hillard, Constance Barnes, Margaret Della. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I lost count. Luke, can you help me out here?
13.
13, Laura.
13 abstentions. So does this pass? Somebody? How many people do we have here tonight? Margaret, how many people do we have here tonight?
Laura, we might need a roll call at that point, given that.
Yeah, you know, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we had 32 if everyone's still here. And I also added Ramdot since.
And you know what?
He was not
Chris
present earlier.
Calhoun, Chris Calhoun came in on the phone. He texted me. Is Chris here for the vote? Is anybody not here for the vote?
I think the phone folks you have to kind of include as well.
Yeah,
That's why a
right.
roll call might be helpful
Right.
on a close resolution.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, all right. So is anybody opposed? I didn't see any hands. Let's put our hands down. Let's put our hands down. We'll do a roll call. Thank you for your patience. We'll get through this quickly. Opposed, I did not see any hands. That has not changed. Okay. Sylvia Alexander.
Opposed.
Okay.
Oh, no, abstention. I'm sorry.
You know what? That's my mistake. I finished with opposed. I'm just doing the roll call. Sylvia Alexander.
Abstention.
Okay. Constance Barnes Watson.
Abstention.
Bob Bender.
Yes.
Kelly Buford.
4, yes.
In favor. Wait, Kelly Buford. Chris Calhoun. Chris, I think you were on the phone. I'm not sure.
If you're on the phone, I think you have to press *6 to unmute.
Okay, well, Lee Chong,
Abstain.
Sebastian,
Abstain.
Ingrid De Leon. Ingrid De Leon, opposed, abstention, or in favor? Ingrid?
I did not see her on the call.
Okay, I know she was on earlier. Margaret Della,
Abstain.
Margaret Donato. Margaret Donato. I'll circle back. Moses. Moses Asema.
Abstain. Sorry, I was trying to get off mute.
Okay. I'm using Google here. Bob Fanuzzi. Is Bob on the call? Nick Fazio. Nick,
Abstain.
Steve Fruit,
In favor.
David Gelman,
Aye.
in favor. Rosemary Ginty,
Abstain.
7-4.
Julia Gomez,
Aye.
7-5.
Ed Green,
Abstain.
8-5.
Rashida Hilliard,
Abstain.
9-5.
Rob Jaglowski,
In favor.
9-6.
Bob Kaplan,
Abstain.
10-6.
Scott Croppinger,
In favor.
Rita
10-7.
Lowe,
Please mute.
Rita Lowe. I don't know. Chuck,
Abstain. Can you hear me?
yes, I got you.
Okay, great.
Chuck. Chuck
Favor.
Murdoch.
In favor.
Theodore Morris, he's absent. Omar Murray,
For.
okay, in favor. Dan Paternak,
Abstain, please. Thank you.
11-8.
Julie Reyes,
4,
Georgia
9.
Santiago, I think Georgia was absent. Ramdot Singh,
Abstain.
12-9.
me, in favor. Leona Tetton,
In favor.
12-11.
Amelia Tepelis,
Abstain.
Deb
Luke,
Travis,
Luke, please mute the iPad.
Deb Travis,
Abstain.
Sergio Villaverde,
Yes, in favor.
okay, in favor. Marty Walpoff. Marty?
In favor.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 14 in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 16 abstentions. Anybody?
So do I.
agree with me? 16
Laura.
abstentions. Yeah,
Laura, did
Yes.
you get me? Yes?
no.
No, you didn't. I'm in favor.
Okay. Yeah, let
That
me
was
circle
Margaret
back.
Donato, right?
Yeah, Margaret
Right.
Donato. So that's 15 in favor. Is there anybody else whose name I called? Chris Calhoun, you were on the call before.
Yeah, Laura, you might want to just loop back around. So Bob Fanuzzi was on the call too, and I don't know where he was.
Bob is, okay. Who I didn't get was Chris Calhoun.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Chris, how are you voting? Opposed, abstain, in favor?
I'm in favor. I'm in favor.
Okay, got that. So that's 16. Chris Calhoun's in favor.
Ingrid, Laura, Ingrid was on the. meeting
Ingrid was on
earlier.
too. Ingrid?
Ingrid, if you're joining from a phone, press *6 to unmute.
Ingrid,
He's not here anymore.
let me see if, was there anybody else? I'm putting a question mark there. Margaret, we got. Bob Fanuzzi, are you on the call? Fanuzzi? I'm just checking, going down. And George is absent. Okay,
I have 32 members present.
It's a tie, 16-16.
that's what I have. All right, parliamentarian, what do we do? We have
Doesn't fail.
16.
16, the motion fails.
Okay, all right, the motion fails by a hair. By a hair.
Was it
All right, thank you, everybody, for your patience.
Laura, was
Yeah.
it 15-16 or 16-16?
16-16.
Margaret Donato came in afterwards.
No, I counted her. It was 14 and then we added 2 A's. So it was 16. I'm stunned. I'm so sorry some people left the call. Just all right, so that's that. We'll move on with the agenda, please. Okay.
Wait. That's not the end of land use reporting. There will
Go ahead.
be,
Sorry, Marty.
there will be another opportunity
I mean,
for,
sorry, Chuck.
well, there will be another opportunity for those who have that view to act as they have tonight. And namely, at the next meeting, proposal for affordable housing will be brought forward involving Broadway. That proposal is some way off because they haven't even figured out their financing yet, but they will be coming in to report on what they have in mind. And I thought you would want to know that.
Correct. Anything else on land use?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. This
whose
is
hand
Luke.
is up?
I just wanted to note that there's a SAPO application from land use.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
Yes.
very quickly. Thank you. Okay, we'll put that up on the screen. It has to do with the Riverdale Sunday Market, having a one-day summer event on July 30th. A one-day summer event. It has been held successfully in the past. It was voted unanimously in favor at the land use meeting where we spread all these SAPOs around. Is there anyone opposed to the Riverdale Wise Sunday Market on July 30th? Anyone opposed, raise your hand. Let me go back to that. Okay, seeing none, anyone abstaining? Anyone, well, that's all I have to ask. It's unanimous, unanimously approved for that SAPO. Okay. I think that's it on there. We'll move to law, rules, and ethics. Marty.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this brief. We had a very productive meeting last night. The minutes are already completed. I will proofread them and send them out tomorrow. I commend the members of the community board to look at them because we discussed a number of issues, maybe technical in nature, but certainly impacting how the community board operates. So I would request and suggest people got a chance to read it, and it should go out tomorrow, or the next day at the latest. That's it.
Thank you, Marty. Parks and Recreation, Deb Travis.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I refer you to my minutes for a full kind of update of our April meeting. We had just generally a very productive meeting. The concessions unit came and along with the concessionaire for the Van Cortlandt golf course. And we just talked about golf course conditions, specifically related to the golf house and to the walkway around it and fencing. So I refer you over to the minutes and to the YouTube video if you want to catch this, but I thought it was a really productive meeting. Our next parks meeting will be, as Camelia mentioned, the Environment and Sanitation Parks joint meeting regarding the Putnam Greenway. So I encourage everybody to come. And that meeting is on May 24th. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Public Safety, Ed Green. And if there's no objection, we will need a second for Ed's resolutions that he's bringing from the floor tonight. Go ahead, Ed.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So Public Safety Committee had 5 applications come before us. 2 were renewals, 2 were renewal SLAs, 2 were new application SLAs, and 1 was a SAPO one was a SAPO from the farmer's market. So first off, we didn't have a quorum, so we couldn't take an official vote on this. So I'd like to bring a motion from the floor to take a vote on all 5 of these applications. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll just briefly, so the first renewal is for Morse Cafe located at 3260 Johnson Avenue. And well, all of these resolutions, the 50th precinct had no issues with any of these businesses, no prior complaints, no notable disturbances. And the only little wrinkle with Morse Cafe is that their SLA license has since expired on April 30th. So that would necessitate a waiver of the 30-day notification requirement by the board as per SLA guidelines. And we've contacted SLA, and this is copacetic with them. This is what they're requesting, that we waive their 30-day notification since their license actually already expired on the 30th. So, you know, we reached unanimous consensus on all of these. The second was for Bronx Ale House, located at 216 West 238th Street. That's also a renewal.
You could lower the, raise the. Okay.
The third was a new application, full liquor license for the Johnson, which is going to be a diner that's located at 3533 Johnson Avenue. It was previously Blue Bay, new owners. And they signed a 2 a.m. closing agreement by the establishment, and it was sent to the board. And the third is a new application for China 21 Restaurant, which is located at 35-11 Johnson Avenue. They also signed a 2 a.m. closing agreement. And I'm going to go on to the SAPO, and I'm hopefully we can vote all these in a block unless anybody has any objections to that. So the SAPO, I'm just going to read the SAPO. It's very quick. Whereas Raymond Poltinas appeared before the Public Safety Committee on April 27th, 2023, and submitted a SAPO application for a farmer's market to be held from 6/17/23 to 10/28/23. Whereas this event is being sponsored by the James Baldwin Outdoor Learning Center and will operate between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Whereas the event will be located at Goulden Avenue between Cedric Avenue and West Marshallou Parkway South, and the market will set up in a closed-off roadway adjacent to the north lawn of DeWitt Clinton High School. Whereas this event has been held successfully in the past and previously approved by Bronx Community Board 8 multiple times since 2020. Therefore, be it resolved, Bronx Community Board 8 approves of this application. And like I stated before, unless anybody has any objections about voting these all in a block, I'd like to do that, Madam Chair, if that's okay.
That's fine. Are there anyone opposed to the liquor license renewals or the farmer's market? Raise your hand. Let me get my participants back up. Okay, anyone abstaining? Okay, unanimously passed. And thank you, Ed. Anything
Thank
else?
you. No, our regular meeting is going to be the third Tuesday of the 16th, I believe. And that's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Okay, traffic and transportation, Kelly, and there's also a SAPO for that.
Good evening, everyone. I refer you to TNT minutes of the April 20 meeting. I also note that our next meeting is May 18th, and I look forward to everyone's attendance. Luke, if you could please put the SAPO up on your screen, please.
There it goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you scroll down just a bit, please? Luke?
Did it freeze?
Sorry, 1 second. I'm having a technical difficulty.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, let me get back to the screen.
Technology, don't you love it? Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. You can scroll up a bit, please. Thank you. So the SAPO application is for the Riverdale Main Streets Alliance would like to host a block party on June 11th. As indicated on the screen, the TNT committee supports the issuance of a permit. However, we did put in qualifying language here that it was upon receipt of adequate plans regarding bus operations and rerouting and the establishment of a 15-foot emergency lane. That being said, we did receive information from MTA on behalf of the applicant, indicating that they can accommodate the request, that they are going to accommodate the request, but they have not given us any plans as of yet. And considering that MTA is involved, I am in favor of moving this forward and put this before the full board for a vote for consideration.
Okay, let me get my screen up here. Is anyone opposed to this SAPO event? Is anyone abstaining? Okay, so it passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I raised my hand and it didn't get into that scene, I guess, because of the share screen. I'm
Right, no, I didn't.
abstaining on that vote, okay? On the vote on the North Riverdale, I'm abstaining. How the buses are handled up there are how many buses? There were like 6 different buses going. How that is accommodated in that community is important. With no plans, I'm just going to abstain.
Yeah, actually, MTA spoke with Pablo today.
No, it's fine. We don't.
Yeah, that's right. No,
The committee said they don't have the plans. I'm abstaining. That's all.
Right.
Done. Thank you.
Laura, I also see Sergio Villaverde's hand.
Sergio.
I have an unrelated question for TNT, if we're done with the resolution.
Yes. We had 1 abstention and I believe we're done with the resolution. Okay. Sergio, go ahead.
Have we heard anything back about the closure of West 236th Street?
We have not.
It's been closed for several years now, and I don't believe it's been remapped, so I do believe we need to follow up on that.
We can certainly ask the office to do so, yes.
Okay. Next, moving right on, youth.
So I apologize for the delay in the agenda. The meeting will be on Monday. It's going to be a joint meeting with aging. I was hoping to confer with the chair tonight or tomorrow, but I'm just going to do the best I can with what I got. Please see my minutes and please join us. Happy to speak to any and all. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Julia. Budget.
Excuse me. Yes, thank you. Pretty much everybody got in their budget materials on or about April 20th. The list was compiled. There's been a little massaging to it. And I will be talking with our leadership about it in the coming weeks. We did get notification about a week or so ago that actually the OMB wants to accelerate the schedule for looking at budget requests for fiscal year 25. So we'll be looking at that shortly. But from the membership and the committee perspective, materials are in and on time. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Economic Development, Nick Fazio.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. We did not have an April meeting. However, we conducted a commercial corridor walkthrough event on April 21st on West Kingsbridge Road. Attendees included BOEDC, SBS, EDC, DOB's Small Business Support Team, and the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs. I think I have everyone there.
It was well attended.
We visited over 20 storefront establishments, talked to merchants, listened to their issues and concerns, connected them with appropriate resources like we always do. We distributed 20 bags, which included program flyers and for different agencies, along with important contact information. And the committee wants to thank Luke for putting the bags together and for coordinating everyone in the various agencies. It is not easy to get everybody coordinated, and it was very successful. It was a very successful endeavor. Everything went off without a hitch, and we appreciate the office's efforts and Chair Spalter's support. We'll discuss our next event at our next meeting, which is Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Santa Fe Restaurant at 6025 Broadway. Guests will include BOEDC, SBS, and as always, local merchants. Hope to see you there.
Great. Thank you, Nick. Education, libraries, and cultural affairs. Sylvia. Sylvia? Are you muted?
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I was saying that I submitted my minutes late yesterday, and I got my copy at 6:49. So I would think that many of you have not looked at my minutes. However, because it's such a long meeting, I am happy to take any questions, get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to discuss anything you want in my minutes with you. The only thing I do want to say is that we had a speaker from the pop-up forest who is a botanist. They're running a vote for a plant to be the Bronx. Well, actually, all the boroughs are submitting choices to be voted on by November with the regular election. Ours is going to be a space bush. It's very hard for me to say. And you read the minutes, you can vote on the computer, and the botanist is going to get in touch with the schools to involve the students, and it sounds like a really fun thing that's going to happen. Outside of that, we have 3 SAPOs that I've submitted and the committee has approved. So I'm looking for approval of the board also. Luke, do you want to put them out on the computer?
Okay, this one we voted on already. This was the, okay, here we go.
Okay, this is from the Amalgamated Nursery School, their spring festival that they've held successfully in the past. It's going to take place. This is the rain date. The June 4th is the rain date. The real date is May 21st, and there'll be another SAPO application for that. Both will be held, or one of them will be held at Gale Place between Orloff Avenue and Van Cortlandt Park South. Between the hours of 9 and 4:30. As I say, the board has, the committee has voted for it, and I call upon the board to vote.
Is anyone opposed to this application? Let me put my participants list back up. Anybody abstaining? Okay, unanimously approved. We'll move on to the next one.
Yes. Well, the next one was Rabbi Shem Tov. There is a problem with that. I belatedly found out that there was a directive that religious SAPOs no longer go to SAPO, but they only go to the police. I was not informed of that. And Laura, if there is some kind of directive that you received, I'd love to have that sent to all the standing committees so that if they are called upon to do something like this, they would know that those go to the police rather than to SAPO. Would that be
Yes, this was
possible?
kind of caught in that transition of when we heard. And we were told that the board would continue to be notified of this, of any closures with religious institutions, despite the fact they don't come to our committee. And we did check up on that. That was David's question. So looking at this resolution, is there any?
I just wanted to finish my presentation.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, as far as the rabbi was concerned, he never got notified, so therefore he didn't come. But I did do the honors, and the committee voted for it, and it was tonight. It was very late, and it was on 235th Street and between Independence and Douglas. So I did go by, and luckily it was in full swing. I was afraid that because he didn't know that it wasn't going to go through a regular SAPO, that he would not be able to have his celebration. So that's it.
So the
Okay.
resolution is
Well,
moot. The resolution
moot.
is moot because the event has already been held.
Right.
Right, so that really doesn't have to be voted on any
Right.
longer.
Last but not least, there's one more, I believe.
Which?
You have one more? Or was
No,
that-
that's it.
That's it. Okay, thank you.
Sylvia, I just wanted to check on one thing. Am I correct in recalling that the rabbi has missed 2 of the last 3 attempts to come before us about the SAPO applications?
That's wrong.
Okay, all right,
He
All right.
has come to everyone that I've invited him to.
okay, my mistake, sorry.
Okay, moving along, and thank you, Sylvia. Special Committee on Hudson River Greenway, I am the office, we are working with you, Bob, to get a June date. Bob?
That's all I have to report. We had a May date, but we had to give it away and we're looking for a June date. So as soon as we have that date, we'll announce it.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Bob. Special Committee on Racial Equity, Margaret? Della?
Yes, we have our monthly meeting tomorrow night, Wednesday, May 10th. This is usually we are on the first Thursday of the month, but we had to move things around. So tomorrow night is our screen meeting at 7 p.m. and we'll be hearing presentation from the Bronx Health Link, which provides resources to residents on a whole host of issues related to their health and well-being. And specifically, we've asked the presenter based on last month's presentation and conversation to talk to us about the state of health of Black women in the district, considering the numbers of women who have been victimized in our district and in the adjacent districts in the Bronx specifically, and also to talk about the maternal health rate for Black women specifically. But the presenter will also give resources and ways to connect and find information for anyone in the Bronx. And we look forward to anyone who can join us. We're also looking for SCREE members. This is an additional committee beyond the 2 that you're committed for. So we understand that it's tough to find additional time in your weekly schedule. But we are looking for additional members and we really would love to have your participation. So please consider us.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you. Special Committee on Veteran Services, Sergio.
Thank you. We are still seeking a date for our meeting. Once we have that, we will get it out. I thank the office for their help. I think we were also bumped possibly, but everything else I refer to our last minutes and what we continue to work on. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. Okay, discussion of executive committee meeting minutes of May 3rd, 2023. Is there any discussion on that? Let me. David? Is your hand up for now? David, is your hand up from now for the discussion of executive?
Sorry, I
committee?
didn't notice that I hadn't unmuted. Forgive me. Just in the exec minutes on page 2 in the treasurer's report, the fourth item, discuss whether board members are allowed to wear identifying clothes. Of course, that's, you can wear whatever you want, but you can drop it. The issue is whether the office can purchase such clothing for members. Apparently not. So I just wanted that clarification made. And then on the following page, follow up on outstanding issues that I reminded members to review board budget priorities, not just the items, because the board members are to look at the priorities and evaluate that. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Approval.
Laura, I note that in the exec minutes that it notes that I was absent, but I was present for the executive committee meeting.
Okay. All right, Margaret, you have all that?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, okay, good. For approval of the board meeting minutes of April 18th, they will be sent out, distributed this week, and we'll have to vote on them next time. There were some extenuating circumstances that Pablo had, and they will go out quickly. Thank you for your patience. Under miscellaneous business, is there any comments? Okay, then we'll move on for a motion. I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session under the open meetings law section 105F.F regarding hiring of staff. And we'll be moving everybody out, what that means, into the waiting room while we have this internal discussion. So bye, Kevin, bye for waving. That'll take just a few minutes.
Well, first we have to vote, Laura.
Oh, yeah. You can tell it's getting late for me. Is there anyone opposed? Thank you, Bob. Opposed to going into executive session? Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? So unanimously, we vote to go into executive session. And thank you for remembering. We're now back in the regular meeting. Correct? Right?
That's correct. We're
Did you
reporting
put
it back in
the-
the regular meeting.
Okay.
Recording,
So
all right.
we could Dan, we could put the resolution back up on the screen. Okay. So we have the hiring resolution, and I'd like to vote. If there are no other further comments, we had an excellent discussion in executive session. Is there anyone opposed to the resolution of hiring Farah Jewel Rubin for district manager? Anyone opposed? Please raise your hand. Let me get mine. I can't see. Are there any hands up? Is there anyone?
No hands.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone abstaining? Okay, so then we have 100% vote for Farah, and I'm looking forward to June 5th when we can start briefing and have a smooth transition. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
And I really want to thank Bob Bender and Omar Murray and Julie Reyes, because it was a lot of work, and they just kept at it, and they did a great job, and I'm very grateful to you that you stepped up. So so we have voted. We I think, is there a motion to adjourn, or am I skipping something?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. You've been great. And we'll have a great evening. I know I'm going to bed.
Good night.
Okay, good night. Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Good night.
Good night.